Well, that was something. That was one of the kind of games where I feel the most comfortable just leaving on in the background while I go onto my laptop and I research other topics for future videos, because man, was that game not fun. Now, again, preseason does not matter at all. Pretty much doesn't matter. I mean, it sort of matters a little bit. I mean, here's a tweet from Thomas Drance that kind of goes over what I'm feeling right now. He articulates it very well, I feel. So, the preseason doesn't matter. Unless it does. Here's a good example. The Vancouver Canucks losing their 4th preseason game in a week, that does not matter. At all. I know Thomas Drance gets some flack for being sarcastic once in a while, but he's kind of truthful here. The Canucks giving up a screamer quality scoring chance every 30 seconds, however, that's not nothing. And you don't want to see that. Now, yes, you could very well say that guys like JT Miller and guys like Tanner Pearson, guys that were in the lineup that are pretty much surefire bets to making this team, they didn't really play the best they could because, I mean, what's the point of doing that? It's the preseason. You don't want to go out there, force yourself, maybe get injured, maybe get into a physical scrum that you probably would prefer not to get into. Meanwhile, you had yourselves a stacked lineup of other guys. Carlson and Amon, who actually played pretty okay, in my opinion. Dakota Joshua was in here, Jason Dickinson was in here. You had a lot of names that just kind of filled out the roster. And for the most part, in a lot of the opportunities that they got, you didn't really have yourselves the best showcase. Vancouver goes up against Seattle tonight, and it's kind of funny because Seattle has been so good in Climate Pledge Arena this entire preseason, and they hadn't actually conceded a goal. They beat the Oilers and the Flames 3-0 at both times, I believe it was. And the game kind of went the same way for Vancouver here on October 1st, the start of the best month of the year. The Canucks had some penalty trouble early on. You had to see Demko make some amazing saves. There was a really big robbery that he did on Jared McCann off a cross crease from Wright. And for the most part, just the opportunities, the pressure, the zone time. Seattle was going out there and doing some work. Beniers and Wright, I thought, looked really good right off the bat. Shane Wright especially, with the dynamism that he has as a prospect, an 18-year-old player in the NHL. Looking to prove something, man, after that entire Juraj Slafkovsky first overall debate. But you did have some pretty good individual performances from the Canucks as well. Not only did Thatcher Demko go out there and reign supreme on a lot of the opportunities that Seattle had, but Bo Horvat also broke up a 3-on-1 chance. He had a hard back check and he stealed the puck. I know I kind of said earlier, hey, maybe some of these veteran guys just kind of take the foot off the gas a little bit when they're playing on a lineup like this where there aren't too many of these veteran guys, but Bo Horvat, on that one play, he did display the two-way pizzazz that we know he has, so that was good to see. The Canucks really had to make their defense work hard in that period too. Just so much defensive zone time, so much cycling around by the Kraken, and Demko ultimately is the number 1 star for Vancouver at the end of period number 1. Period number 2 starts out in a pretty bad way because a Höglander giveaway leads to a grade A scoring chance. There was just nobody there backdoor to put the puck into the open net. You also had yourselves Geekie, who came in on a clean rush and beat Demko stick side, but it rung off the post. And then, just 2 minutes after that, McCann comes in with a great rush, down to left wing, he shoots, it goes wide, and just a few seconds after that, the puck finds itself over to Matty Beniers, on the same side, he risks it, he scores it, it's 1-0 Seattle on a far side glove shot. Yeah, Beniers is good. And we've been saying this the entire time, even in the game against the Kraken on Thursday. I was like, yeah, Shane Wright. Aside from the Elias Pettersson posterizing pylon moment, that was a great game for Shane Wright. And then here, Wright looked pretty good as well, and Matty Beniers did too. So a lot of these first-round picks for Seattle really paying off some good dividends directly into their first NHL seasons. You then had yourselves Bo Horvat, who had a beautiful cross-crease feed to Tyler Myers, who shot it right into Grubauer, who was coming from the right side to the left. He had an open net, and he missed. Okay, he didn't miss, he got it on goal, but he missed the open opportunity and shot it into the goalie instead. Come on, Tyler Myers, what are you doing right there in front of the crease anyway? Tyler Myers then got himself another scoring opportunity, another great chance after the Vancouver Canucks do some nifty passing to break out of their own zone. Eventually, Myers comes right in down the right side, he shoots it gets saved, and at this point, Myers had 4 of the Canucks' 7 shots in the game, about the halfway mark of the entire 60-minute showcase, which is not good. Not good at all. No, it's not. Podkolzin, Horvat, and Höglander had a pretty good shift, which ended up drawing a penalty, where Podkolzin had his helmet removed. It was a roughing penalty, but technically it was just removing the helmet. And the Kraken got a shorthanded scoring opportunity on this Canucks power play. It was absolutely useless. The Canucks got another power play 3 minutes later, Yanni Gourde for slashing, and there was some good movement on the second one, but it was broken up by Tanner Pearson just fanning on the shot. He was in the bow spot, the spot where he had scored the power play goal against Seattle back in the Rogers Arena game on Thursday, and he whiffed on it, which led to Seattle clearing it out, and pretty much that's the end of the power play. That's the end of the period, too. The Canucks really not getting anything on the board here, especially with their second power play unit, which was given some time towards the end of the third. But the third period doesn't start out great either, as Alex Wennberg scores right off the bat. It's Tyler Myers who tries to drop pass it behind his own goal to nobody. It's stolen by Bjorkstrand, and Bjorkstrand goes for Wennberg. It's 2-0, literally within the first minute. Thatcher Demko showed off pretty well too. Some good lateral mobility, lateral movement, and left to right just desperation moves. He was really good in certain moments of the third. But about 4 minutes after that, hey, guess what? It's Tucker Poolman who tries to break the puck out, but it eventually gets turned over. The Kraken come in. Poolman ends up falling down. He blows a tire, and it's Yanni Gourde who gets a breakaway. He comes in, dangles the pants off of Demko, and goes top shelf. Tucker Poolman and Tyler Myers, come on, guys. Come on. Maybe because it's preseason, there's a benefit of the doubt here, because it's like, okay, get the mistakes out of your system. You know you're gonna make the team. Like, there's no way Tyler Myers gets sent down. So these guys can just work out the kinks, maybe get a few of those mistakes under your belt so that you don't carry them into the regular season. But that's pretty much the best way I can try to spin it, because that giveaway by Myers and the defensive collapse by Poolman, yeah, those were pretty bad. It took the Canucks 10 minutes to get a shot in the third period. They also pulled the goalie with 3:17 to go. That was pretty sloppy. Ends up being Yanni Gourde who scores in the empty net to make it 4-0. And then the Canucks take a penalty at the end. It's Jason Dickinson for tripping. You can kind of feel it in my voice, man. This was not a fun game. And especially with the second power play, we saw guys like Sheldon Dries and Christian Wolanin out there. This definitely was not a team that went out there and tried to win the game, I feel. Maybe it's just sort of the mindset of, okay, we're going to play against a Seattle team that is pretty close to getting their entire roster here. We're missing out on Petey, we're missing out on Hughes, we're missing out on Kuzmenko, we're missing out on so many of our main guys. And even on the power play, you could definitely see that without Pettersson and Hughes, this power play sucks, bro. Like, I'm sorry, Rathbone is good, Miller is good, but you need 5 guys going out there, burgers and fries style, to actually make a power play work. Heck, maybe even just 4. Discard the guy in front of the net. But this power play that we saw, not great for the second unit. The first unit could have been a lot better if Tanner Pearson didn't just fan on the shot. But either way, talk to the comments your thoughts about the Canucks facing off against the Kraken. I really don't think there's any reason to worry here, because you gotta remember, even teams that win all the games in the preseason, I think it was Harmon Dale who made a tweet about that the other day, but like, the only teams that have ever won all their games in the preseason, I believe it was like Arizona a few years ago when they were absolutely dog water, and then you have yourselves a few other teams like Colorado and Tampa Bay this year whose preseason records are also pretty bad, so at least there's a little bit of calmness, but at the end of the day, you don't want to see the Canucks going out there and playing as poorly as they are in the preseason. Maybe lackadaisical, sure, but not poorly. They're making a lot of bad plays, and they're definitely not playing the best lineups, but either way, we've got ourselves, what is that, like 3 more preseason games to go? They got Edmonton on Monday, something like that, so we'll see how exactly the Canucks are able to proceed with newer rosters that hopefully include Petey and Hughes, and maybe Kuzmenko, and maybe, best case scenario, Ilya Mikheyev. Maybe best case scenario would actually be Brock, but no, Brock's not coming back. Either way, talk to the comments your thoughts about Vancouver-Seattle. It's a pretty bad game, all things considered, but I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.